just thought I should say a little bit of a brief history about myself. I know I've only got 30 minutes to talk, so I'll keep it brief, because for those who know me, know that I like to talk. But as Jessica said, my name's Julia, and I've known Jess Jones for a while now. She doesn't know it, but I like to think I've been in a platonic relationship with her since I first met her. So I met her in December 2014. And from the first moment I met her, I just fell in love with her personality and the idea of Soar Collective. And Jess and I kept in touch, and I had the opportunity of speaking at the Mornington event last year, and then they asked me again back, so I must have done an alright job to be asked again, so it was very exciting. And then through that relationship with Jess, I then got to know Jessica, and now I like to play them off each other, who's going to be my favourite Jess. So at the moment they're kind of equal part, but we'll see by the end of the night who comes my favourite. For those of you who may have seen in my social media posts, seen on the Soar Collective and so forth, I'm a little quirky, I'm a little bit unique. I blame Mum for that. Mum's sitting here. I like to be a little bit different. It wasn't like that initially. I didn't want to be different, but now I've come to accept and gone, you know what? I'm pretty awesome who I am. I'm not going to change who I am and so forth. So that's why you'll notice that I've written in my terrible writing a little personal note just for all of you to say that you are, some might have swear word on there, I do like to swear as well. You are effing awesome and you do rock this world. So I know how lonely and isolating it can be being a female business owner, particularly when you have friends or even sometimes your partner who doesn't understand that you can't just go home and switch off. And unfortunately the work keeps going. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is in relation to the necessity of change. Now, who here loves change? Oh, that's good. Most people don't, so that's great. You're already one step ahead of the curve, so that's awesome. And I'm going to talk to you about it in relation to the digital marketing world. So who here feels that they're very confident with digital marketing? Website, social media, SEO? Okay, cool. That's all right. That's totally fine. The thing with marketing, and I'll go into this a little bit later on, is that it's one of the most misunderstood terms available. There's a lot of people out there who will overcomplicate it and will make it really confusing. And I'm going to try to show you that it's actually not like that it is actually just common sense. So that's something that we're going to discuss a little bit later. But first, I just wanted to have some house rules. I know it's a little bit noisy and so forth. If possible, try to not, unless you're taking beautiful pictures of me, try not to look at your phone. I have a short attention span, and I know that I've done that in the past. When people are talking, I'll be on my phone and so forth. So try to put that phone down and listen to awesome me. The other thing is, avoid trying to be negative. Prior to, I guess, this transformation that I went through, I was that type of person. I was talking to about that with my friend Nicole. You know, people would come on stage, or I'd go to a friend's wedding, or I'd go and I would compare myself to them and go, I would have done that better, or they're too fat, or they're this, they're that. And I was very negative and be like, well, what would they know? You know, who the hell are they? And some of you may have thought that when I came up on stage, hopefully you didn't think I looked too fat, but you might have thought and gone, oh no, not another marketer. What the hell is she going to tell me that I don't already know, or read on the internet, or watched on YouTube and so forth? And that's totally fine. I used to be like that too, but I realised that as much as I thought I knew everything, I don't know everything. Mum's probably the first time she's probably ever heard me say that, going, oh, she doesn't know everything. But try to be open-minded, and there might be some things that you may disagree with, and that's totally fine. But try to, I guess, accept that there's change, and that change can be a good thing. The other thing that I wanted to also mention is why change is important is, do any of you remember Nokia phones? Do any of you have a Nokia phone now? That's one example of, in the drawer, as a spare, yeah, or as like a paperweight. That is one example. Does anyone remember iRiver, the MP3 players? Anyone got an iRiver? You had one, yeah. Two examples of companies that do not accept change. So Nokia was the powerhouse. Everyone in the 90s had a Nokia phone. I remember if any of you watched Sex and the City, she had the really big, sexy Nokia phone. Yeah. If I talk about Facebook and Virgin, you all know what Facebook, the company Virgin or a Virgin, you're aware of those companies. Now, what Facebook and Virgin stand out for is that they respond to change. You want to remember social media, that there was a little company called MySpace, that was the leading social media platform. Then Facebook came along. Anyone here still on MySpace? No. I remember when I was on MySpace in high school, and I remember I was so excited this Tom guy friended me, and then I realised that he was the owner and he friended everyone, it was an automated thing. But anyway, what the thing is about Facebook, whether you love it or hate it, they evolve and they change, and that's why they're still the #1 social media tool in the world. I think that they say they're the second or third largest country in reality by the number of users. So change is a necessity, and the companies that evolve and the companies that change and transform are the companies that are going to succeed. Doesn't matter if you're a micro business owner, a large business owner, or in between, you do have to change. What I wanted to talk about is a little bit about myself. So we're just going on to the slide. I'm just like you. And in case you are wondering, because I am young, I'm 29, but I spend a lot of time, even though I'm an extrovert, evaluating myself and working out ways that I wanted to improve. In particular, I've had my ups and downs. Some of you may be surprised by this, but last year and the year before, I had a really bad battle of depression and really struggled in finding that inner happiness. And it took a lot of time, and also I've got Karina here, who's my executive coach, a lot of time with friends and Karina to actually get myself out of that. Because when you do run a business, the buck stops with you. And being women, how many of us here in the room compare ourselves to someone else? Constantly, yeah. And I did that the other night, and it got me so down. I was looking at this thing. I don't know them from where I was. I was like, oh, they're so successful, they're this, they're that. But I don't know what they do. Maybe they're up 3 a.m. in the morning every day or something like that. I don't know their story. And we're so hard on ourselves. And particularly when you run a business, it is isolating, as I said. And I went through a really bad phase in not wanting to get out of bed, which is so not like me. I'm usually, my poor husband's back here and I'm already down the street going, I'm going to do this and so forth. So I had that, and then of course we had the joy finances because I like shiny, sparkly things, and my budget, when you're starting to run a business, you can't afford shiny, sparkly things. And also my husband had back surgery last year, so we had a few personal issues. And I realised though, when you run a business, I can't turn around and say to a client, sorry, I don't feel like getting out of bed today because I'm feeling sad, or, my husband's not well or whatever. So it was I felt like there was work Julia and then personal Julia, and they weren't aligned. So I spent a lot of time working out what I wanted in life and working out how to achieve that. So I started to align myself with people and assets, physically, and Karina's beautiful as well, which annoys me a little bit. She always looks good. But also the skills that I admired as well. And I don't know if you're aware of this stat, but they say the 5 people you hang around the most, you're most likely going to have those skills or assets going to wipe off on yourself. So I had a best friend a couple of years ago. We're not friends, well, we're kind of friends now, but basically she was a maid of honour for my wedding. About 4 weeks after my wedding, she said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, you run a business, you don't understand what the real world is, and so forth. And through Karina, that really hit me really hard. I thought she was a friend I was going to grow old with, besides my husband. And it was one of the hardest things I ever went through, but one of the best things that I had ever gone through, because I've realised every time when we caught up, all we did was bitch about other people, all we did was be very negative. When you run a business, you can't be negative. If you're negative, who wants to do business with a negative person? You don't want to be that person who's like, oh, the world's going to end tomorrow, rah, 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 rah. So my personality changed, and we just didn't gel anymore. And now when I do see her occasionally, we don't really have anything in common anymore because I've moved up to this level and she's kind of stayed stagnant. And some of you may have experienced that yourself, your friends, relatives, even family. It can be a very difficult transformation, but it is the best thing in the long run. So I'm a big believer in that things happen for a reason. So, how I started deciding that I was going to run a business happened on a very ordinary day. I got this spark. I always knew I was going to end up running a business because if you know me, I'm pretty, I say stubborn's probably a polite way of putting it, and I'll tell people how it is. So bosses do not particularly like that, and particularly some of you have heard me speak before will know that I talk about this lovely man that had short man complex, who in my last job was the biggest bully I've ever met in my life. He used to be this type of person that he'd come to you when you were sitting down because he could talk down to you. So me being the bitch that I am used to wear the highest shoes you could ever physically walk in, and I would stand up to him and I'd be above him and then tell him how it was. So I realised that it kind of gave me that spark to go, hang on, this isn't the way things should be. But prior to that, I used to work in South Melbourne and I used to catch the train to work. Boring commute, let me listen to music. For those of you who don't know me, you will know that in the night I love In Excess and Michael Hutchins. I always work them into the conversation somehow. Anyway, I was walking to the station one morning and I noticed this nuts and lolly shop just appeared. And I knew straight away that the business was not going to succeed for a few reasons. There was a supermarket literally 4 doors down and a Safeway across the road. In addition to that, they had cafes and all that in the same vicinity, and I knew that it was not going to work. I walked past, didn't do anything for a couple of weeks, and then I noticed they were doing sales promotion after sales promotion, 20% off this, 30% off that. So I thought I'd go in there, and they were an immigrant family and probably the nicest, no offense to my parents, but the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So I used to go in and buy nuts, and I don't like nuts. So it was good for mum and dad because they like nuts, so I used to go and give it to them. And I never said anything because, I was early 20s, female, what would I know sort of thing. But it gave me the spark to realise that business owners are the most passionate, enthusiastic people you can meet. But sometimes they don't have the right skills and the tools to market themselves appropriately. It's like me, for example, I'm hopeless with bookkeeping and invoicing. I like to get paid, don't get me wrong, I like to be paid, but I won't do it. I'll ask fart around, I'll go on Facebook, I'll do that. It will take me, say, 4 hours to do an invoice where my bookkeeper could do it in 3 minutes. So I realised early on in the business I needed a bookkeeper, and luckily I've got this amazing bookkeeper who rings me and harasses me to put invoices in. So she's great, I need that, because I'm already thinking about the next thing. And that really helped with my business, and I realised that it's hard as a business owner that time is money. It's that hard thing, but if you're spending 4 hours doing something that could take someone else an hour to do, you do need to think about outsourcing it, because you need to be doing what you're doing best. So whether you're doing the massage, or whether you're going out talking and speaking, that time is your money. So I realised, if it's taking me 4 hours to do an invoice, it's a bit scary having to spend money, but it freed my time up to do something else. I also then didn't have to think about the books because I knew it was getting done. So again, it's all about finding the right process that would work for you. So after I had this sort of revelation about business owners, I realised that I was going to do something with business. I just didn't know what yet. So I got moving and I studied a shitload. I did a Cert 4 on training and assessment. This is in addition to my marketing degree. Did a diploma of internet programming, a diploma in web marketing and a few other things because I wanted to get my skills ready. I'm a big believer in education and a big believer in sort of upskilling and building up your knowledge, particularly in the marketing industry where if I said what PPC or SEO or SEM, there's all these terms and so forth that start to confuse people. So I wanted to learn that terminology, so when I am talking to people, they know that I know what I'm talking about, and then you don't also stops you getting ripped off. The other thing that I did was I spoke to business owners and I pretty much stalked them in some ways, and I asked them what they wanted in a business consultant. And the number one thing that they said is they wanted someone to vent to. So that's why I named my company Vent to Me. I had so many people, I can't tell you now, at least 20 people told me, you know, shit, doesn't mean anything, nobody knows your business, you know, it's crap, blah, 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 blah. But I was such strong belief in my name, in the name Vent to Me, because it kind of gets people wanting to know what it's about. I'm a big believer in names that don't normally explain what you're doing. And what it became was, Vent to Me became something so much bigger than I thought it was going to initially be. And the name suited that. So in November 2011, my baby, Vent to Me, was born. And it's been an interesting ride. It's definitely been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been the best thing I've ever done. And I'm really big on empowering people, giving you the tools and the techniques that you need to do. So in addition to running the company, I also teach at Swinburne Uni, as I mentioned previously. One of my students, Amy, is here tonight, and I believe in helping people achieve the goals. My main focus, I guess, ambition in life is to help people. And I'm not saying that marketers are doctors or this and that, and whereas, you know, going to change the world. But I do know the sense of satisfaction I get from a client once they've realised the importance of how to write a blog or what a category or tag is feels freaking awesome. So we're different in that way that we are, I'd say, more personal. Now, some companies can't handle that, so I don't really work with corporates because they prefer a different type of personality, and that's totally fine. So my main network has been small and medium-sized businesses. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about a client of mine, Quick Business Bookkeeping Solutions, and I wanted to give you an example of how marketing can transform business. So I met Loretta would have been January of last year. She had massive issues with her website, which I'm sure is something that you've all experienced from one time or another. She also had major technological issues in that her email wasn't working to her phone and all these other little things that made her life really difficult. So we started working with her in January 2014, and the first thing we did was we sorted out her tech. So we sorted out getting her email, working on her phone, all those sort of things, and then worked out how to get her website working for her, which we ended up having to redevelop it. The thing that we also do with our website clients is that we do a training session. So we do a 3-hour training session with them with the website. Because I kept on saying to Loretta, blogs is where it's going to be. You need to really blog about accounting and finance and all that sort of stuff, because that's what people are searching. They're not searching quick business bookkeeping solutions, but they'll be searching how to do your best, how to do this and do that. She said to me, which is I'm sure you've all experienced and gone, I tried that with my old website, it didn't work. And I said, this is a new website, you need to change, you need to evolve. If I have to write the first view, I'll write the first view and then you'll see it from there. What I was able to show her was that every time she did a blog, traffic to her website spiked. So with our website clients, we send them free weekly Google Analytics reports. And she could see that every time she wrote a blog, and I'm not talking about a 5% spike, I'm talking about a 30-40% spike for a website. So she saw the power in the power of blogging, and also was able to recognise and go, actually people are interested in what I have to say, and that's pretty cool. Particularly for me, when I think about accounting and bookkeeping being pretty boring, like that's not, it's not sexy of industries. What happened from that was, she does QuickBooks Online, was that QuickBooks Online has gone through a recent real launch in Australia. It all used to be about zero. So when QuickBooks Online were looking at partnering with business owners in Australia, they were typing in, you know, blogs and blogs about QuickBooks Online, that sort of stuff. Her website came up. She now regularly writes and blogs for QuickBooks Online in Australia, Intuit, and also is the chosen bookkeeper for the Asia market. So she writes articles for Singapore, Hong Kong and Taiwan. Through this, she's also been invited 2 years in a row to go to, they have this lovely Americans have conventions over everything. They have a QuickBooks Online convention in the United States. 2 years in a row she was invited to attend, speak at a workshop, and that was all paid for business class and so forth. And I'm not saying it was all just because of me, but because she got the processes right, and because we worked together to build up her confidence and she accepted the change, she realised that she could do it. If I asked her 2 years ago, do you think you'd be blogging regularly, she would have said no. The other thing that we do is, because of the monthly catch-ups, as you can tell I love to talk, we do monthly mentoring sessions, we've been able to work together, so I've been able to build up her knowledge. I do search engine optimization for her too, which basically has improved her traffic on her website, and she's gone up. So if you type in QuickBooks, and do this when you get home, QuickBooks Online Training Australia, or QuickBooks Online Training Melbourne, or just QuickBooks Online Training, she'll come up. Generally Intuit comes up first, because it's the main company in Australia, then she's the second or third one down. So now she gets people directly booking through her website. We did an e-commerce shop front as well for her. So digital can really work in with any type of business that you've got. It shouldn't be something that you need to fight against. It can work for you. So we were able to hold her hand through the process, and Loretta has become, I know you shouldn't have bestie clients, it's probably one of my bestie clients. You know, we get her on like House on Fire, and we've been able to revolutionise her business, and the revenue that she's getting as a result of that online store has been amazing. So, what I wanted to talk about is, we live in a constant world of what if this, what if that, what if I just walk down the street that way, what about if I didn't eat that piece of chocolate or whatever. How many of you have gone to seminars as well? Yep. Read self-help books? Yeah. So, did you know, for example, that we are exposed to over 5,000 advertising messages a day? So no wonder why we're freaking confused. We're being told before we even get what's the first thing you do in the morning? Turn on your phone? Look at Facebook? Yeah. So before we've even had a shower, do you want to know a scary stat? 95% of all Facebook posts are done when people are on the toilet. Yeah. So there's an interesting. So before you've even had a shower, you have looked at, seen ads, you've been exposed to ads, seen what your friends have done. They might have, for example, being 29, I have quite a few friends who are pregnant or having babies. So you get straight away that, oh, maybe I should be doing this or doing that, have into a travelling, and then you get envious sort of things. So we've already had that before we walked out the door. It's quite a scary world. Then we've been told through advertising that we're too thin, we're too fat, we're too this, we're too that, we're too short, we're too tall, and so forth. So it is a really, really confusing world. But it doesn't have to be that way. My philosophy is, if you want something really badly, you will pay for it and you'll work for it. So I'll give the example, Karina. Last year I identified that I needed executive coaching, and I, at the time, didn't really have the money to do it. But of course I could still buy that handbag or shoes every time I went shopping. You know, that was nothing. Talking to Karina, she was talking to me about, if you don't make change, nothing's going to change, which is obvious, which makes sense. So I realised that, hang on a minute, this girl, she knows what she's talking about, so I did the coaching with her. She got me to a professional development level that I might have got to in 10 or 20 years, but she got me there in how long? It's been less than a year, really. And I realised through that people need a similar philosophy of marketing. So I started doing the marketing mentoring sessions. I'm also launching, which is very exciting, digital marketing courses. And I've got a 10-week course, which we've already had 11 people sign up for the first intake, where you learn about digital marketing with videos, content, assessments, and so forth, which I'll talk about in a little while. Getting help and support and asking people is one of the best things you can ever do. Because again, you know, I know what I'm good at, but I also knew what I wasn't great at. And I was able to get the support from Karina. The other great thing about having a coach or mentor is, and this is no offense to mum or friends, you know, mum's invested in my interests. So if I said to her today, blah, 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 blah. Mum will have a particular opinion on it. She still wants the best for me, but she wants, whereas you talk to Karina, who's a little bit more independent, a little bit removed, and it can give you a really, it can give you a different side of the story. And if I ask my husband about a question, all he sees is it going to make us money, and B, does it mean you can go to bed at 9:30 at night? Like, that's his two things. When I have an idea, that's what he does. Talk to Karina, we kind of work it out. She goes, no, this is a good idea, it has legs to do. So definitely having a mentor or coach can make a massive difference. So what I wanted to talk about before we go through the actual plan and template is to close your eyes and think about where you are now. I don't see eyes closed, I'm going to slap you. Good. And where you want to be in 18 months, 3 years, and 5 years. And really picture it. Picture it as if it's already happened. So you've achieved that goal in 18 months, 3 years, and 5 years. Remember that feeling of how good it feels. You've done it, you've achieved it. Once you've done that, you can open your eyes. The powerful thing about visualization is you don't realize that every day you are working a little bit towards that goal. But you may not realize it. So often I'll spend in the morning those few seconds, a few minutes doing that, picturing where am I going to be and how am I going to do it. For me in particular, I've always wanted to marry my love of education with marketing, which is what I've been able to do with digital marketing courses, which is awesome. But the first thing that I also, I've realised how to do that, but the thing that I want to talk about is in relation to marketing. There's what's known as the 4 Ps. Are any of you familiar with the concept of the 4 Ps? Some are, some not. So they're product, place, price, and promotion. Now, the important thing about these 4 Ps is they need to relate and be consistent with one another. So for that example, if I talk about Gucci, how would you describe Gucci handbags? Expensive, exclusive, desirable. Yes. You're not going to see Gucci handbags in a vending machine at the local station. You're not going to see Gucci handbags in every shop for that reason. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, if I say Coke, what do you think? Well, not cocaine, Coca-Cola. What do you think? Cheap, sugar, easy to get, too. So Coca-Cola will be on every corner. They'll be at the vending machines at the train station. And it's a low involvement, low purchase price. Now, do any of you have Guess handbags? Or bought Guess handbags and so forth? It's really interesting with Guess. So when Guess handbags first came in Australia, it was seen as a designer, sort of exclusive sort of product. Now you can see Guess bags everywhere. So they lost their spark, and as a result, the price went down. Because who's going to pay? You're not going to buy a $300 Guess handbag, for example. No, they've become more of a convenience product because of that. So when you're looking at the 4 Ps, when you're talking about product, you're talking about the physical aspect or attributes of the product, as well as the branding. So what does it mean? You think of Nike. What does it mean? What does that swoosh mean? You're talking about the branding, the physicality. You're also talking about the service element. Every product has a service element, and every service has a product element. So if you're thinking about, I'm pointing at you with your massage business, service might be the product's the end massage, but you're actually giving the massage. The actual look of your clinic makes a difference as well. If you want to be seen as a high or exclusive massage clinic, you're not going to have, when you go to get your nails done at like one of the Asian places, you're kind of okay with the wall kind of looking a bit drab and might be a bit of hair or something on the ground. If you want to be exclusive, you're not going to do that. I have a good example. There was a client in Ringwood that I didn't take on for a particular reason. They wanted to be seen as an exclusive restaurant in Ringwood. I live in Ringwood. Yet they wanted to print their menus using clip art and publisher on standard paper. Straight away, if you see that there's going to be a steak for about $70, you would be expecting tablecloths. You would be expecting a proper menu. And I tried to explain that to them, but they didn't listen to it, and I didn't take them on as a client. So you need to, what you say and what you provide need to be consistent. Sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it. I was talking to my students about when I started off running a digital company, being a female, some potential clients were a bit apprehensive about what would a female know, they're not techie, so forth. So what I used to do was, I used to say, hang on a minute, let me talk to my developer and I'll get back to you. Then I'd go have a cup of tea, or have a shower, or whatever, come back to them, bring them back and said, I've spoken to him, big thing on the him, he has said, which is pretty much what I told them anyway. Now it doesn't matter, now I've got staff, but at the time, sometimes you do have to fake it a bit. So if you don't want to be seen as a single business, use we, us, that sort of language. When you're talking about price, and I must admit I've struggled with pricing, I get too emotionally involved, by my personality, and I've really struggled with that. Price is not only how much you sell, how much it costs a client or customer to buy, it's almost how much time it's going to take you to develop it or produce it. So I've done some websites where once I worked out the timing, I earned about $10 an hour. I could have been cleaning toilets. I've got a sense of satisfaction out of it, don't get me wrong. But I could have been cleaning toilets or working at Macca's for that amount of money. I can't tell you how demoralising that can be when you've worked, particularly my first financial year. I remember I made a profit, which was great. But by the time I worked out the profit, it was like $4,000. I thought, all those hours, all those tears, all that time I couldn't buy stuff at the supermarket, all that time when my husband was not happy because they could go to bed for that little work. So pricing, you have to not be emotional, and it's very hard not to. Karina always talks about worth and what value you offer. So think about that, because you do offer value. When you're talking about place, you're talking about where it's sold and also how it's sold and distributed. So who here likes to shop online? Yep. How many of you feel really excited when the parcel comes? Yeah. So shopping online, they've done that really well because it feels like a present to yourself. So I'll buy a pair of shoes online and it comes in the mail. It's like, oh, that's a present for me. They've done shopping online. They've done really well. Have any of you had the experience where the product didn't arrive? You had those sort of, yeah. So when it comes to online shopping, obviously the distribution channel is really important, but the same goes to face-to-face. So like that example of the restaurant, when you walk into the restaurant, you see how much a meal is, and then you realise they don't have tablecloths, they don't have this, they don't have that, you kind of start to question it. It's like, I live in Ringwood, as I said, you know, go to Box Hill, and you always go to the restaurant that has most Asians in there because you know it's good food, sort of thing. Like, we do that. You don't mean to, but you do those sort of things. So, and place is also looking at your suppliers. So if you have suppliers, and if they let you down, that can affect your business success, of course, as well. And then the last element is promotion, which is often the one that most businesses get wrong because they don't know how to promote their business. They don't know what they should say and this and that. The most important thing with any business is that you solve problems for people. They're buying your product or your service because you solve problems. Being a masseuse, you obviously make them feel good about themselves because they feel relaxed and so forth. Hairdresser makes them feel good about themselves. Mortgage broker helps simplify the process of buying a house. So you give them confidence, you give them peace of mind and so forth. All of you are solving problems and you probably don't even realise that you are. So that's where your messaging comes. I put a proposal in for a prospective client last week, and I know it won't go anywhere because she's one of those people who thinks she knows best, and she's got beautiful shoes, she runs a shoe company, and she started it, and she's like, oh, but online sales in the industry as a whole is going up. Why is no one buying my product? Because all she does is do a flash sale, flash sale, flash sale. There's no emotional connection. So why would I buy shoes from a business that I have no idea who they are, that isn't established, when I could buy from Mimco or somewhere else that has a story? And I said to her, you need to explain, because it says blah blah, and then it's got by her name. And I said, nobody knows who you are. I know who you are, but you know, nobody cares. And then you see this flash sale. She's trying to sell more premium shoes, but doing it as a flash sale. That does not work. Because the people who do want her pretty shoes see, oh, it's 20% off. Oh, and now she's doing garage sales. Like, it just does not work. And so I put it in, but I doubt it's going to go anywhere, because some people just don't want to listen. And that becomes the Nokia or the iRiver example, because they're not willing to change. So and feel free to eat if there's food around and so forth. What I wanted to talk about is the actual marketing plan. So in front of you, behind the slides, there's a marketing plan template that I will email through to you guys, so you can have a soft copy of it. And this template is what I use with my clients and also for my own business. Basically what it is a guide of what you should be doing. You know, you can spend an hour or two each month working out what you're going to do for the month. Do you not get it? Oh no, you can get it. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, no, I was just checking. So basically the front of it, the first page is your goals and objectives. So what are you going to do for this month and what the theme is. Are you wanting to persuade, inform, compare or contrast? For me, because I like to be humorous, I like to try to inspire and engage people. But for some of you, you might, like Loretta's more of an authority figure, my client, the bookkeeper. She wants to sort of like educate people, and there's no right or wrong as to which way you want to do it. And then the next bit is you then work out, am I going to do a press release, a blog post, social media post, newsletter or video. So you basically tick and check what elements you're going to do. The other thing that you do is you look at your calendar. Now, how many of you have decided to plan something and then gone, oh shit, Easter, or oh shit, Christmas, or oh shit, Mother's Day? It forces you to plan and think ahead. I've done that too. I'm going to launch this thing and then realise that it was school holidays or something, it just wasn't going to work. And the other thing is to think about your budget. So what I'd like you to do, and you can do this for either February or for the month of March, is to write down a few objectives of what you want to achieve for this month. It can be marketing related, it can be sales related, it can be brand positioning related, and write it down. By writing it down, you commit to it. Now, as I said, I like shiny, bright things, so I would be like, I have an idea and then I've gone and done something else. So by writing it down, it forces you to go back to it, and it forces you to actually, actually do it. So spend some time just writing. So, in that short time period, how many goals or objectives were you able to write? More than 3? 4? Yep. So that took what? Say 5 minutes? Goals and objectives are done for the month. Now, goals and objectives are those things that we probably spend longer thinking about than actually doing. So you've done your goals and objectives, which is fabulous. Then what the rest of the plan is about is working out your content to obviously affect content so that it will achieve those goals and objectives. Some of you may want to do press releases, some of you may want to do a blog, some of you may want to do videos, it's up to you. What I'm going to do is run through the blogging plan, because we've all got websites. We all probably go, I really need to write a blog. How many of us actually write the blog? Yeah, exactly. Nothing, you don't have to feel bad about it, but blogging is such an effective way in showing your personality, showing who you are and what you offer and what is different. So what I want to do is we'll go through the blogging plan, which is this press release plan is on the other side where it says blogging. What you do is you work out what your main topic is for the month. So let's just say you want to do two blogs on the importance of exercising for for 30 minutes a day. That could be your main topic. Then you work out who your audience is of your blog. So is your audience current customers, potential customers, other people in the industry? You start to think who's actually reading your blog. And you write down who your audience is, or who your intended audience is. Who do you want to attract as well? So you write that down. Pardon? Yeah, who your competitor is as well. So working out exactly that. Now the great thing about digital marketing and the web is the fact that you can get so much information on yourself and your competitors with the click of a button. So do look at your competitors and what they're doing as well for ideas and inspiration. You will notice with websites that a lot of websites for similar industries look very similar for that reason. Because marketing essentially, when it comes down to 4 Ps, can't vary a lot. So there will be common elements. You also think about your call to action. Now, I'm not talking about you want to do a huge sales pitch and all that sort of stuff, but every blog or anything you do from a marketing perspective needs to have a call to action. So is it to get them to call you? Is it to download a free resource? Is it to, write on your social media or your blog post or so forth? So you need to really think about what you want them to do. You know when sometimes you read something and you go, yeah, that's really cool, and then it just ends, and you're like, what am I supposed to do now? I've just read this piece and I don't know what to do now. Like, you want to get people to do something. They've done research with blogs, it's similar to press releases, and they find that articles that normally have 3 or 5 tips generally work very well, because if it's 4 or it's 8, it's kind of open-ended. You want to have it closed-ended. The other thing what's important with blogging, and this is what we did with my client Loretta from QBBS, is we worked out what her categories and tags are. So who uses WordPress here? Yep. When you write a blog, you'll notice on the right-hand side there'll be this thing saying categories. Normally it will say this default is uncategorized. What you need to do is every blog post that you have needs to have a category and needs to have tags associated with it. So if you think you're going down a supermarket aisle and you want soup, soup is like a category, it's generic, but it's giving people a relative idea as to what your blog's about. So if it's about how-to tips or exercise tips, that would be your general category. When you go to the soup aisle, or you go to toothpaste aisle, you'll see sensitive toothpaste, mint toothpaste, toothpaste for kids, toothpaste for old seniors, dentist toothpaste, all that sort of stuff. They're your tags. So your tags are your specific items about what your blog's about. So if you're thinking about exercise or health, it might be how to do crunches, how to get off the couch and do a 5K run. It's very specific information about what your blog's about. Why categories and tags are important is because people who are looking for your information will go and they'll be the terms that they'll be typing into search engines, they're typing into Google. Unless if you're an Apple or you're a Virgin or whatever and people know your brand so well, they'll look for you by brand. But often they'll be like, how do I change a washer? How do I dye my own hair? What does ombre mean? Those sort of things. So by doing those categories and tags, you're more likely to come up in the search rankings. The other important thing about categories and tags, and remember that the web is a web. Everything's interconnected. So the more categories and tags that you have, the more interconnected it gets. The more interconnected you are, again, it helps boost your profile online. So by categorizing and tagging it, it also makes it easier for customers or potential clients to find what they're looking for. So let's just go back to that analogy of a supermarket. Let's just say we've gone to the soup aisle, and then it says, go to aisle 15 for vegetarian soup. You're going to be pretty shitty and go, now I have to walk down another aisle to get to what I wanted. Same with the web. The web, the average rule of thumb is 3 clicks is best practice. So everything that you want your customer to do on your website has to be done within 3 clicks. Most people spend 5 seconds on a website. So that is why the slider, you often see sliders on home pages and they often rotate within 4 seconds. Because anything later than that, people click off by then. So you have to be really consistent in ensuring that your web, all the pages of your website connect in that way. And blogging is one way to really help get your message out. It also, the other great thing about blogging is your content to then use on social media, for your newsletter, you want to do a video, for your press release. So that's why I usually always start with blog first and then you push it out from there. So blogging is really, really an essential tool, and you don't have to be the best writer. You don't have to be the best in the world to write about. If you think about Richard Branson, if you watch his videos, he's not the best speaker in the world, but people will go and, like what Jessica, Karina, myself did, we went to this awful event for 8 hours to listen to Richard Branson talk for 25 minutes. We sat through that 8 hours because we wanted to see Richard Branson, but he's not the most amazing speaker. So people come to see him because he has passion. What people remember is passion. What makes people want to engage and interact with you is passion. Doesn't matter if you're an introvert or someone like me who doesn't shut up. They want to see passion and enthusiasm, because if you believe in it, other people are going to believe in it. I like to think about marketing and stuff, sort of like fetishes. It's been in the program, I've talked to this about my students, but there's with fetishes, there's always someone who's interested in a particular fetish. It's the same with your products. If you're interested in your product, there'll be other people who are interested in that product too. You just got to find them. Once you've found them, you're going to have no problems. It's just finding them initially. So blogging is that way that you find them, because it puts it out onto the web. Because it gives that content that you can then share on your social media and so forth. And by doing this template and plan, you can pretty much work out your whole marketing in a couple of hours for the month, and then just roll it out, because you've got your goals and objectives to go back to. The other thing about by doing your goals and objectives is, have any of you done Facebook ads, paid Facebook ads, all that sort of stuff, and then not realised, not really understood if it's worked or not? By writing down your goals and objectives, you can then go back at the end of the month and go, hang on, did I get new inquiries? Did people come to my website? Did I increase my brand positioning? So you actually start to measure the results. By measuring the results, like what I did with Loretta, she can see and go, okay, blogging is a valuable tool for me. So some of you, videos may be more powerful to use than blogging. So you find out what works for you. So if you're interested in getting a soft copy of this template, I've got a clipboard that's going around if you just want to write down your details, and I can send it through to you guys. Last thing I wanted to talk about before we finish, and then we can continue eating, is just a little bit more about my digital marketing superhero course. It's a course designed for business owners. As I said, I've taught at university and taught at TAFE, and I realised that those courses aren't necessarily aimed at a very varied audience. My courses have been designed for business owners, exclusively business owners. So it's for people who run a business, might know a little bit about digital marketing, but not know a great gamut. What I've done is it's a 10-week course, and it includes 3 assessments. As part of those assessments, you do an advertising strategy, a digital marketing strategy, and you do a review of your website. But unlike other courses, they're actually assessed by expert digital marketing people working in the industry. Myself and a team, I've got about 6 other teachers. So you basically get to do your own digital marketing strategy, but with the expertise of a digital marketer to help you along the way. So it gives you the insights into how digital marketing works, the tools and tricks, and those things that marketers don't normally want you to know. So what I was talking about before, SEO being search engine optimization, ensuring that your website's optimized. If I said to you, is your website optimized, do you guys know what that means? No. So it teaches you what you need to look for. So if you do decide to get an SEO consultant, you can say to them and go, do you put alt tags on images? Do you write meta tags? How many meta tags do you write? Do you write a meta description and so forth? So you actually learn that language. Straight away, if you're talking to a digital marketer and you know those words, they're going to go, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. You're going to get the product that you want. I've just been talking to a client today who got a website launched last year, paid about $3,000 for it, not being found on Google. And I went through their website and I could tell straight away it was not optimized for web. The ways I could tell is images, as I mentioned before, alt tags, Google can't read images, so you need to tag them in the back end so Google can read the images. The page numbers didn't have permalinks. So basically they need to redo their back end of the website, which is going to cost them probably about, it said to be about $1,500 investment. Then they said to me, but I just did my website 6 months ago, like I don't understand how to pay this. And I said, well, it wasn't done properly in the first place. And they said, but I didn't know. And I said, I can appreciate that, but I wish I could be a charity, and I wish I could, but I need to make money too. My husband's not going to be happy if I have fake things for dinner every night, sort of thing. And I explained to them the work involved, and I helped build up their knowledge. So it's all about knowledge and empowering to understand these words, and to understand that marketing isn't scary. So we've just had our first intake, and we've had 11 people enroll, which has been fabulous. And we're doing a second intake on I think it's the 2nd of April it starts, and I'm offering it the discounted rate of $97 for the reason of that I love Soar Collective and so forth, and also because it is only the second intake, I want to make sure and test it properly to make sure that it's amazing. But so far the feedback's been really good. We've got, with the business owners that we've got a few from the US and majority are Australian. And there's forums and there's instant messaging and a lot of content to really help you grow with your business. And if you are interested, you can talk to me a little bit later. There's no pressure. I'm not going to stand at the door and say, why haven't you signed up or anything like that. But I can guarantee you, if you do it, you'll walk away knowing so much more about your business, the brand, and ultimately increasing sales. So, to end, whatever you decide to do, don't be the 99% of businesses who do nothing. Don't be the Nokia or the iRiver. Be the Facebook and the Virgin companies and be the top percent. And how do you do that? By learning something new. So if you at least a little bit inspired to want to try something new and do it, that's fabulous. Remember to forget the norm, be unforgettable, and maybe one day you'll be digital marketing superheroes too.